Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be talking about the most important process in successfully managing your properties, and that is tenant screening. My name is Lavinia with Top Notch Property Management. Let's talk about how you can avoid having a nightmare tenant who not only that won't be paying the rent on time, he or she might actually destroy your property. But you can avoid that by having a tenant screening process that is thoroughly. As we talked on previous episodes, an eviction is time consuming and pretty costly. And if you go for the cash for keys option, that's costly as well. So you want to avoid that. Not to mention the repairs that you might have to do afterwards and pay for those repairs. So make sure to screen for a responsible tenant. But how you do this? First, you start with the rental application form. It should contain enough information for you to get an idea of what type of tenant this person might be. The rental application form should contain the following information: complete name, date of birth, social security number, current address, previous address, home, work and mobile phone, email address, driving license, emergency contact, number of occupants, pets and how many, what type, rental history, current and previous landlord contact, employment information and employer contact, monthly gross income, and statement of consent that allows you to run credit score and criminal record. And of course, for your own marketing purposes, you want to ask them where they found the property. Make sure the application is filled out completely. And if you have an online application, you can request fields to not be skipped. Watch out for gaps in their employment and rental history. We tend to ignore red flags in general in life, but especially in this particular situation, you have to be really vigilant. After you have the complete application, proceed to do the screening. And have a fee for that, because you want to make the potential tenant pay for that. You don't want to pay for each and every potential tenant screening process. That will be pretty costly if you add up. How to verify the information of the application? You can outsource it to a screening company, and that will be automated, and it will reduce your level of involvement, but it'll be professional and accurate. Or you can do it yourself by asking the tenant to provide you with the pay stub, the bank statement, copy of a photo ID, so you can use the name and the date of birth to run the criminal check, and letters of recommendation from the previous landlord, so you can contact them and ask how they were behaving. What to verify? Again, we have 5 main criteria that we have to verify: employment information, financial information, rental history, credit report, and criminal background. And you should check with your state law on that, because some states do not allow you to use the criminal background for screening purposes. So let's start with the first one: employment information. Check with the employer to verify that the information that they provided is correct. You should check if they really have that job and for how long they were working there. You don't want to have a tenant who's hopping from a job to another, or who was lying to you regarding the length of the period that he or she was employed or is currently employed. Second, financial information. While you're on the phone with that employer, don't forget to verify their annual income and see if it matches the pay stub that they provided. You can also ask the prospective tenant to provide you with bank statements of the last 3 months so you can match the income with the stub. Plus, you can check for unreported cash income. If most of their income comes from regular cash deposits, you can realize that there is something sketchy and maybe you don't want to have them as tenants. Plus, that does not offer the security of a stable monthly income. Therefore, there's no guarantee that they will pay the rent on time each month. The third important information that you have to verify is the rental history. It's extremely important to verify that there wasn't any eviction in the past. Because as I was mentioning in the previous episodes, evictions are pretty costly and time consuming. And someone who wasn't able to pay the rent, or they maybe damaged the property in any ways, was then asked by their previous landlord to leave the property, but they refused, and the landlord had to file for an eviction, you can tell that they aren't the type of person that you want to deal with. Had they left willingly the property, the eviction wouldn't have shown in their records. But eviction is not only the bad record that you should look for when checking the rental history. You may also want to call the previous landlord and ask about them, how they behaved while they stayed in their home. Be aware of the fact that some tenants, a lot of tenants actually, will give a fake reference. And instead of writing the landlord's number, they will use a friend's number. I do have to mention that I feel like I sound like an Italian mafia when I today, for some reason, my accent keeps changing. But going back on track. So, be aware of the fact that some tenants will provide fake numbers. They will write the name of the landlord, but they will put the name of a friend. Do a check online to see if the number they provided matches the name of the previous landlord. Who knows? Maybe next time I'll have a French accent. Anyway, I'm pretty sure you guys didn't figure it out what's my origin. But you can comment down below. Okay, going back to the fourth major information that you have to check, it's the credit score and credit check. You wouldn't want to accept anyone with a credit score lower than 600. The lowest being 300 and the highest 850. Obviously, you will not get someone who has the highest score because probably they would have applied for a loan and buy their own property. But in this case, you don't want to be anywhere lower than 600. Ideally, would be above 720, but you can consider anyone who has more than 600. Search for a full credit report with a FICO score. This contains rental payments history, which are important to verify if the tenant was responsible. That's something that you can verify with the landlord as well, but if you can double check the information from two different sources, because as I was saying before, maybe you talk to a different person, not to the real landlord, and then the reality might be very different. While checking their credit history, pay attention if they paid their obligations on time and what is the level of their actual debt right now. If their credit score is not so good due to medical bills, do do not judge them so harshly. Maybe you don't want to consider it as being so relevant, because as we all know, medical bills can easily go high and in a very short amount of time. So have an overall look at their credit history to understand if they are responsible or not. The fifth major information that you have to check is the criminal background. Criminal background reports are really easy to check. You just need a copy of their photo ID to use their correct name and date of birth. And like that you can obtain a national-wide criminal history. Although you want to make sure that your state allows you to use the criminal record for screening the prospective tenant, because some states do not allow it. So make sure to verify that previously. After you have verified the application, run it through a scoring system. I hope you have one. If not, you might consider putting together a scoring system, because like that no one can accuse you of discriminating. You will show that for each and every tenant you use the same scoring system, and unfortunately their application did not qualify based on the criteria that you use for each tenant, prospective tenant. And the last step is to schedule the interview. If the information provided is accurate and you obtain a good score, go ahead and meet the future tenant in person. But be aware of the fair housing law and do not discriminate against race, color, origins, religion, sex, disability, and familial status. Therefore, whatever you do, do not take the conversation in that direction. You might though ask them if they have pets, if they are smokers, or if they plan to have roommates at any time in the future. And trust your gut feeling. If the information looks good, but you have a bad feeling about them, don't move forward. You might regret doing so. Alright guys, this was sweet and short like always. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please press the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, and if you want to contact me, down below you will find my email address. And until next time, have a great day!